Namaskaram, ma'am. Welcome to Kalanilayam.
Namaskaram.
Welcome to Kalanilayam Live's Inspiration Series.
Thank you, Gayatri. Nice to.
I'm so happy to have you as our guest of honor today. Renu Singh,
Yes.
Advocate Renu Singh is
Renu DC.
Advocate Renu D. Singh.
It's Renu DC.
Sorry, ma'am. Advocate Renu D. Singh is the president of Samadhan NGO in Dehradun. The NGO has been phenomenal in empowering and rescuing women who have been who have gone through a lot in their life, including violence, sexual violence, and all. So, ma'am, I would like to ask you, how did you choose? How did you end up choosing this path of where you are doing something of free of cost and rescuing a lot of women? How did you choose this path? Was there any particular incident in your life to
Yes,
take?
Gayatri. In whatever choices and decisions or commitments we make in our life are always due to certain situations which we come across and certain experiences.
Okay.
40 years ago, when I started Samadhan Mahila Helpline, it's an NGO. It was started as a forum. It was like a work group kind of thing. And it was in way back in 1980s. And it's long 40 years now. The journey started 40 years ago. And yes, I came across one case when I was very young. I actually rescued a small girl, aged 12, hardly 12 years old. And she came from a tribal background, from SC/ST background. And she was sexually assaulted by her own biological father.
Oh.
And when I rescued her, saved her, and I myself was only 15 years old.
Oh.
So I did not know much about what to do, but I rescued her in a very poor condition, and she was on the on some ration shop where I saw her. And from there, she asked for help, and I it ended up bringing her my home, and got her to my mom, and my mom, when she saw, and when her other people also came, and they saw that the girl was badly assaulted by father, and she was actually sexually exploited for a long time. Though I could rescue her that time, but when the police came, police gave the girl back to her own biological father, the same man who raped her. And since her mother was uneducated, when we called her, she came. She used to live separately in a village, so police called her and they got her there. And when she came, she said that okay, she would take the girl to village, but she refused to file any complaint or any FIR because she said that the village people would not allow her to live there, and it was matter of their family reputation. So she took her away, and those days there were no laws like POCSO and all, which today we have. And since I was a young girl myself, I was not adult, so I also could not do much about it. But that left me in a very shocked kind of situation, and I didn't know what to do. But I was very much concerned and worried, and I was upset with that the same father, mother, she's given to. So now again, I don't know what would happen next. After 7 days, from my school only, I decided to go to her village. So without asking or without taking any permission from my parents, I drove to her village on my mobile. And when I reached there, I kept on searching, first of all, for her house, but I couldn't find. Then I finally recognized her mother sitting under a tree and besides a pond where there was tannery. Lot of leather and skins were being tanned there. So I asked her, where is the girl?
Ma'am, your audio got muted.
Yes. Yeah. Can you hear me again?
Yes, ma'am, but there is slight disturbance in the video.
Yeah, yeah. Is it okay now?
It is there. I'm able to hear you, but the video is a bit cracking.
It's cracking. Okay, I think in between there was a call.
Okay.
It's a call. That's why probably because this is my only number which I
Okay.
use. So, anyways, then I came to know that she told me that when she returned village, the next day the village panchayat decided to get that little girl married to a widower who was 48 years old with 3 4 kids at home, and that widower man was drunkard, alcoholic also. So she said that after the marriage, he took her away, and then after 4 days, she was found dead floating in the same pond where she was sitting. She died and she was already 3 months pregnant.
How
So
old?
yeah, so it was pertinent, and I could understand that it was again rape by the husband, so-called
Husband.
husband. So, and since she was, hello,
Hello, ma'am.
it's breaking, it is
Yeah.
breaking, yeah. So
Yeah.
then so that left me in sort of bizarre mental condition, and I then started thinking, I asked my grandmother and my parents that what can we do about such children and
Mm.
such girls and women, those who are sexually exploited by their own people or
Mm.
by strangers, and
Mm.
then they are doubly victimized, their
Correct.
victimization is double. So they
Correct.
said that so far the social conditions are like that, and laws were not that strong those days. So they said that there is still nothing much about it. So that is
Mm.
the I decided that now something has to be done. It has to be done, and I would be committed to that. So then I decided that I would study first thing, because knowledge of law is very important. So I
Yes.
studied law, became a lawyer and advocate, and then I started my organization Samadhan. It started with a very small setup, because I hardly have $10 in my pocket those days, and nothing else. So I convinced my friends, my schoolmates and all, to join me. 27 girls, they were all between age 15 to 18, and we started this organization as a helpline that any girl could call us. Those days
Mm.
there were no mobiles, so it was
Mm.
very tough for us to get a telephone connection, and phone
Mm.
calls were also expensive. It was an expensive affair. Anyhow, first 10 years we were working as a work group and of committed women, and
Mm.
then another 5 to 10 years we became very active, and
Mm.
we became result oriented, and we could see the results that more and more women were joining us as group. Then we decided to register it as a society, and now registered as organization proper under society registration at 1961. And
Yes.
this is where the journey started. More people started joining us,
Mm.
and we kept it law oriented organization. So
Mm.
our main purpose was to give something to survivors which is not only sustainable but also meaningful for their life, because sexual
Correct.
violence is such a stigma.
Mm.
Once the girl goes through it, people, ordinary public, does not
Mm.
want to accept them as mainstream or as normal human being.
Mm.
So we decided to then it was we consulted a lot of survivors, and then we decided how about giving them opportunity to study law in mainstream and become lawyers and advocates themselves.
Great.
Meanwhile, in 1987, Legal Aid Act was it came in the practice, and we decided that NLSA had such National Legal Service Authority also had the similar kind of concept that when the woman or when people, citizens do not reach the justice, let the justice reach to them. So that was the whole idea. So this was the ideology behind Samadhan. Then came the problem of fundraising.
Correct.
Also, we found out the sustainable way. I became a qualified lawyer and advocate, and I was good at my work, and I was sincere, and my academics was good. So then, Gayatri, I decided to serve these women pro
Great,
bono
ma'am.
without charges. And this started growing. Then first we started with the 3 to 4 hours of helpline telecalling and all. Then within 5 years time, grew so much, and we had our own means, and I started building the center with the help of my family, my husband, others, everyone started helping me. So this Dehradun center came into form, and we had the 7 helpline. It was the first ever helpline of North India, which had a center which is at par with the United Nations standards. So we
Great,
have
ma'am.
close to 50 people, and I built the house for myself. Because there was choice. Either I could have built my house with or a center, because money is not possible. I started
Ma'am,
training.
it's breaking. It's breaking. Ma'am, it's breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we started training programs at the center, and I also started.
Ma'am's the number which she uses is the helpline number, so she keep getting calls.
I started giving training sessions to paramilitary forces, master training, and also to Ministry of Justice and to Ministry of Home, time to time. And that helped me earning certain revenues, and also introduced the internships at our center. So this is how slowly the revenues started coming in, and we started working. And then 10 years ago, we also launched our mobile legal clinic, where the survivors of violence, those who were studying here law, they only drove this clinic once in a week, and we were visiting 122 tehsils of Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh also, and started visiting place to place with this mobile van. It has got its own office, and everything. It is well equipped vehicle for 6 people. So our 6 women used to join. They were also the law students, so it became easy. And we started not only doing the camps for awareness camps, we also gave help to DLSA, District Legal Service Authorities of various cities. We joined hands with them, and this is how the reporting started coming in. And meanwhile, the case reporting, filing of FIR, rescuing the girl, rehabilitating her, and training her, grooming her as a lawyer was not enough. We also added one more feature in our services. That was the community consulting. And
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Actually, your video is not coming. Video is stuck.
it was stuck.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, ma'am, it's still stuck.
Still stuck. You want me to call you again?
Not required, ma'am.
Is it still stuck?
Yeah, it is still stuck.
Oh my.
Shall I remove you, and do you want to join again?
Yeah, let us join it.
Yeah,
So
I
I
am
continue
removed.
from the same. I continue from
Same,
this.
same ID, same ID. Now it is visible. Now I can see you.
Yeah.
Now I can see you.
Yeah. So
Yes, ma'am.
this new feature helped us a lot, because now we were able to train our girls as paralegal volunteers also, and we also started rescuing from other states. The entire 28 states of India, we were getting calls, and we were trying to rescue them, and police also used to help for rescue work, and sometimes used to get help from protection officers and district magistrate's office. So that is how the whole process came. And one most wonderful and amazing thing about our organization is that we are all working pro bono. That means there is no employee. Last 40 years, this organization is working, and no salaried employees. All the women volunteers are doing this work, and some interns, law interns also are working with us. And so far, to our credit, we have rescued more than say 10,000 women maybe, but the law part, the LLB, the regular LLB, now we are reaching almost 3,000 number of trained and registered lawyers and advocates, those who were rescued, and we keep their identity totally confidential. And another best thing happened, that our girls started qualifying PCSJ. So we have 42 girls from various parts of India now working as magistrates. We do not still, our girls could not still reach to Supreme Court and High Court because of the linguistic barriers, because most of our girls are from village background. So knowledge of English becomes a little bit challenge, because if we want to want our girls to work in High Court, they need to be fluent in English and also presentable enough in drafting and all. But doesn't matter, they are doing excellent. And the interns, those who join our organization, they are presenting the rates. I also am presenting my rates in various states. So this is how this whole thing is going on. The
Ma'am,
result is very good.
actually, I would like to ask to you one more thing. Like, how risky is this rescue operation for you all, for you and your life?
Yes, it is, Gayatri, it's a crucial question. And so many times my family people do ask me the same thing. My parents, my brothers, sisters, everybody asks me this, my son. They are always bothered, but yes, there is risk, and more risk is nowadays. If you are a woman, if I'm rescuing a girl, or if I'm helping a girl to come out and seek the justice, the worst thing what happens to us is that the culprits, the rapists, and the people, the persons, the culprits, the bad men, the evil people, those who better their women, and they are mostly powerful background, they really started haunting us, trolling us, and the worst thing is used against us, that they do the character assassination of our girls, and even my character assassination is done on cyber. And the problem is, if anything a common citizen does on cyber, immediately police takes action. But when these powerful perpetrators, these powerful criminals, those who are women haters and misogynists, they hate women, and especially the woman who supports the survivors, who is the lifeline of survivor, and such organizations, they literally bad character assassination,
Again, ma'am, video.
writing bad post, writing dirt posts, and something like full of vulgarity. People are, things on porn sites. Sometimes they write our names, our girls' names, pictures. They put. So these attacks we keep getting. And yes, twice, rather, I should say, I was attacked by acid also while rescuing child prostitutes from Mumbai long back. So, but luckily, I was not injured on up body, but I was injured. My
Lower
legs
body.
were injured in that. But everything is fine because I could immediately get good treatment. Then some people, those who are sitting in as politicians or as police officers, or sometimes just normal policemen, they when a man in uniform starts battering his wife or his woman, then it becomes very difficult, because we can't say no to a woman who is a policeman's family or an army man's family. If so, what if her husband or if perpetrator is uniformed men, still we have to give her shelter. And in such case, when we give a shelter to such women, these people make a nexus, a syndicate against us, and they haunt us, they troll us, they literally, do the worst things which anyone can do, so that just to hush us away from the focus. And it's all right, because I believe in law. I know one thing, at the end, our lives would not sustain, but our
Correct.
truth will prevail. Our truth prevails in this society. It's all right. It is their karma. So that we cannot help. It's their karma. They are performing their karma. We are doing karma. So that is how we sustain.
Actually, ma'am, in this 40 years, what changes do you feel in the mentality of the society, especially men? Have men become progressive or more acceptive about women rights and their needs and everything? Is there a change?
Every 10 years, you see a lot of collective changes taking place in the society and their mindset. Yes, 40 years where I begin my journey, and how the public used to react to such situations, and especially how they used to treat women and the women rights. Today things are changed, and a big change came after 2013 Nirbhaya incident. When Nirbhaya incident took place, at least people started looking at us with more respect. Prior to that, they used to, look down upon us, because I used to work with the rape survivors mostly, and the women, those who were sexually assaulted or such kind, or domestic violence, worse violence take place. So they used to look down upon us, and they used to hate us sort of. And even my being lawyer and advocate sometimes not of any avail, because my own fraternity isolated me, and my girls used to be isolated in the court of law, because that time, like before, prior to Nirbhaya, people used to take rapes as something to do with women's character. And believe me, even now, the lawyers, the advocates, those who fight for victim, fight for the survivor, normally people look down upon us and treat us as if we are the rapists. And they misuse the law, which is CRPC 1, IPC 128. No, 228, 228. There is a section in IPC, called IPC 228. And this 228 is actually made for the protection of identity of the survivor of rape. But it always comes handy to the assault making and to the rapist. Nowadays, rapist has filed several false cases against me in the court of law, saying that I have disclosed the identity of rape survivor. We went on TV for Nirbhaya time on some debate, and there they disclosed their names, and I was also guest on the same channel. So they took advantage of this, and the group, and especially the main villain of the group, is one sub-police, and he maltreated his wife badly. And since we rescued the wife was rescued by police, but she was brought to our center, and then he studied law, and today he is a successful lawyer, and she's living her life with lot of respect now, after 21 years of ordeal in her policeman's hand. This policeman has gone to the dirt, and he made this bad group on cyber, so he's doing our cyber bullying also. So, and anywhere, if our pics are there, if any post on FB, he would go and put very bad comments. So a lot of times what happens, common public get distracted. The misinformation he puts there, very bad words he uses, and he says that people should save their wives and daughters from us, we are bad and all. Gayatri, one thing is there. God is really powerful. So you see, various awards and recognitions started coming our way. And now even the United Nations recognized us as best human rights defender of South Asia, and lot of other like Sadhan India Samman, then Swayam Siddha Samman. There's a lot of such awards. Rotary award came to our but so lot of people, when there is a bad, there is good also. So I believe in one thing, that changes are for good and things are improving. And you ask me that how the men's mindset, this men is Indian men and Asian men is suffering with long-term misogyny, that is intra-generational misogyny, that somewhere they have a problem with women, but despite all that, you see the youth is very gender friendly, and in our camps we get very good response from youth. In the court of law also, the young advocates, male advocates, they respect women. And even in judiciary, our girls get respect from the young crowd.
That's
The
so.
young people, young boys are really changing.
That's so
And
happy to hear.
I see a big hope, because this world is only there because of hope and positivity. So
Correct.
good response. People love us, and boys, men, professionals, we started understanding, and the medical professionals started respecting such survivors nowadays. Earlier, it was not like that. Then the young police force, young policemen also started respecting survivors and their support. Then judiciary, young judiciary has they have respect for us and for our girls. So, but still, we need lot of awareness, and sensitization is very important. Gender
Yeah.
sensitization is
How important is sex education in this aspect, ma'am?
sex education is very important, because when 0 to 10 years of age of child goes to school, and he was like just a blank sheet, he doesn't know anything. Both girl and boy I'm talking about, both he and she. And in the families we have certain topics which are tabooed. We normal Indian families, we do not like to speak about sex in front of child. But it's high time, when we can see that even the children are not being spared by the sick people, by jerks, by perverts. They are sodomizing also. This must sensitization about sex crimes and possibilities. We have to tell them that what to do, what not to do. Also promote 1098, the national child line number. National child line number 1098. Wherever we go, we
Hello?
yes. So hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So that things are really, sex education is now being taken as normal. And another big thing, since the porn is so easily available to those small children, young children, deviated. So
Yeah.
they can
I
easily
didn't.
get such content on YouTube and all.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yes. So this is where parents need to be a little bit careful, because sex education should not come to them as entertainment. It should come
Correct.
to them as information, as some defensive device where they can save themselves, they can protect their childhood.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that is what. So sex education, but what way it is being served to them, that has to be monitored.
Correct. Correct. Actually, ma'am, how difficult is it for the survivors to accept this path of empowerment? Will they be, or do they, due to this conditioning of the society, do they fall into guilt? Is that a common trend?
Gayatri, we are little bit regressive. Our society collectively into a regression kind of thing. it's very difficult for a survivor to come back to the mainstream life again. Because Samadhan is a small organization. Okay, so it's not all. We need, now we have a lot of Nirbhaya centers in every district. But the problem is that the training, the kind of sensitization is to be done with the authorities and the people, those who are sitting there as counselors, they need to be more sensitized and more professionally trained. And since it lacks, for girls, it is so difficult. Actually, registration of FIR, I would say, is not difficult. It is done. Okay, now zero FIR can be done, and mostly girls get it done. The real rape, the real sexual harassment and violence starts after the FIR.
Trial. Okay.
It's not trial. When they go for medical test, for example, still in the villages, the CHCs, the community health centers, where that is the first thing. When if the incident happens in village, and our country has got so many villages and CHCs, then your city hospital, district hospitals, there even the lady doctors sometimes behave in a very negative way, and they look down upon the victim first, and mostly they judge them, and they be so judgmental, then they say that, oh, your character should be bad, the rapist, you must be knowing the rapist, and you should have been doing some sort of romantic meeting
Sort of
with
prostitution.
him. So you got raped, and or your clothing were not appropriate, or why you were wearing jeans, or you invited the rapist. If it is a gang rape, they say that something must have done to provocate them. And then in the court of law, girl is not treated with respect. Most of the times, judges themselves think, and they become over judgmental. The judges become over judgmental. The first thing they try to express that girl is bad character. And sometimes the lawyers and prosecutors do not take interest. So everywhere, one thing is there, that her character is always
It's being raised.
Yes, fingers are raised on her character. Even justice is not easy. Justice is not easy. Whenever there is a small tussle in her married life, the husband immediately taunts her. Oh, I married you. You were a rape survivor. Still, I married you. So, sort of moral superiority everywhere she gets, and until or unless she is in a stronger
position.
Rescued people, train them in achar chutney papad wala training. You make a chutney papad or sewing machine, you do the silai. So these kind of professions, she gets further exploited. So this is the reason I have felt myself that grooming them as lawyers and advocates is the best thing, because they can protect themselves in future, and they become the voice of women. And they can bring a difference, because these women, when they sit in the court, they are more sensitized, they are more sensitive, they can understand and feel, and they can empathize the cases of rape. The girl comes there, they can empathize them, at least they know what pain she is undergoing. So the justice empathy is very important. The justice delivered to the empathy is very important, and judicial empathy. We cannot expect judiciary to sit neutral and treat the rapist and the victim on the same scale. And they say that unless the crime is proved, the rapist is not a rapist. But what about the open, open and shut cases like Nirbhaya, and like other? You have seen in Hyderabad that case happened, where everyone knew that who was the rapist and how the cruelty was done. So such places, I think, and lawyers also need to be more sensitized. Sometimes lawyers are behaving very badly, especially the defense lawyer. Their behavior is little bit painful to the girl when she hears them in front of her in the court of law, talking all sort of nonsense on the name of pleading, on the name of defending the arguments and all, especially the cross questioning of the girl. a little bit of morality also needed with the empathy.
Actually, ma'am, what do you think would be the reason for this sort of a cruel mentality inside men to brutally assault someone, and what would be the reason behind that?
Uh, uh, there are multiple reasons though, but one thing which last 40 years I had been visiting the jails and prisons, and there I had been talking to these people, consulting these, the convicts and all. So when I talked to them, one thing in common I found that all these people were themselves sexually assaulted in their
Okay.
childhood, either, or they saw their family member being assaulted, especially their mothers and sisters,
Others.
and somewhere they were themselves sodomized, and and they think that this was okay because that time they were told by their family members that it was okay and they can forget it, but they do not forget it. That goes into their psyche. Second thing, the most important aspect of rape psychology is that they crave for power. Their subconscious mind always looks for somebody vulnerable, someone who is very weak. So there they prove their satta, their power, the to power to grab somebody and do what they want to do. So that gives them a misogynistic pleasure,
Pleasure.
and it's a kind, yeah, and misogyny is there since long. It is
Yeah, years, decades, yeah, centuries.
centuries. This misogyny is there, we can see. And then the kind of environment these children are getting in their families in their childhood, 0 to 10 years, is very crucial time for a boy or girl to be groomed as human first, primarily. And that is where the things go wrong, and they develop this kind of abnormal psychology, like they want to. And it's not just girl. Nowadays you can see that even the
Boys also,
boys
yeah.
are not safe, and even the adult men are not safe.
See?
Even they are being victimized, sexually attacked. So this is the main reason. And for this, all we need is that early childhood sensitization, early childhood grooming, and more of gender friendly environment at
Correct.
home, and gender safe environment, gender gender respectable environment has to be there. And the abusive language which all over India people are using, you will see the kind of abuses they use are always sexually painted abuses for
Correct.
mothers
Either
and
mother or
sisters,
sisters. Yeah.
and always mothers and sisters. So when
Yes.
these young boys, when they are playing, when they are playing the cricket or the small boys of age 10, 15, I have seen, if there is a goal, if they are happy, they will call mother, sisters names and with
Yes,
sexually.
yes, yes.
And when they lose, suppose they lose the game, then also they will again hurl uses which are sexually painted, and again calling
Yes.
the name of mothers and sisters. So this mentality, this mindset is so deeply rooted that some people, when we ask them why you do this, they say that this is not abuse. Even sometimes when we are working with police and at court, or sometimes we also think that okay, it's all right, because we do not really react if
Correct.
someone is abusing. And sometimes you see these in the field especially, small things happen. And in English also, girls, women, we all we
Yeah,
all
correct.
speak things which are sexually painted, like
Paint.
that
Correct.
the word starts from F.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it's daily use word nowadays.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
But what does it show? It shows somewhere the sexual misogyny.
Correct.
And
Correct.
even women
Yes.
have become
Yes, yes.
misogyny.
It's all with mother or sister.
Yes.
That's so painful.
As women also, there is misogyny, which is secondary, which is
Correct.
passive misogyny. Passive misogyny is when mothers tell their daughters that
True.
if you do this, you will be raped. If you
Correct.
do this, you will be raped. So this is passive misogyny, which is somehow transferred from the men to women because of living together.
Correct. So, ma'am, after seeing all these, after seeing the trauma of a lot of women, children, and a lot of people, what is the main or primary thought that comes to your mind all the time? How do you, how is it inside your mind?
Inside my mind comes something that maybe one day our people will be sensitized and groomed. Our girls and boys will be groomed to respect each other's gender. And sometimes I think that my fantasy, my imagination, I feel that there should be one day when people should come and say we don't need this helpline because now there are no rapes. Or maybe in the courts when we go and do the survey, we say, oh, there is no rape done, or there is no gang rape anymore, or someone says that, oh, this law is not needed anymore, the rape is totally abolished, this crime is nowhere on the planet. I wish this kind
Agree.
of thing should come one day.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hope maybe we can. And ma'am, what do you have to say to girls or women like me? What is it that you wish to say?
When it comes to women, we are the half population on the planet. I want one thing to convey to all my women, no matter which state of society they are coming from, educated, not educated, less educated, more educated, professionally established, or any woman, first and foremost is now to see to it that we groom and support our women to reach to political participation in a full way, in a full manner, complete way. That is, we should sit there in the parliament on 50% seats.
Great.
To the political participation, law making will be better.
Correct.
50% we are not there in the central cabinet. We are very few numbers women sitting, and those who are sitting there, some way or the other, without offending anyone, I don't mean to offend our parliamentarian ladies, but they think from their side. It's high
Correct.
time when and all the women from, because see, village panchayat from the if we want women empowerment, if we want safety for women, it has to start from panchayat level.
Correct.
And to go to center parliament. Now no matter how many places, other places women are sitting in media, they are sitting in army, hospitals, everywhere, colleges, universities, scientists, engineering colleges, everywhere they are there. But since we are not there in the parliament on 50% seats, our voice is still not being heard. It is not
Correct.
screening the result, because when we say we are 50%, that means we will make the laws which are good for gender empowerment, which are sustainable laws, which are above the caste, creed, religion, because
Correct.
womanhood is above caste, above religion, above color, everything, because woman is a universal phenomenon which has to be respected and which is symbol of peace basically.
Correct. Correct.
So if we want to have peace on the planet, we have to open our voice, we have
Correct.
to raise our voice, we have to break the silence. So I speak one sentence always wherever I go: break the silence to stop the violence. If we
Correct.
break the silence, our silence.
Correct.
So break the silence, stop the
Of the
violence.
violence. Great, ma'am. And to the boys or the boys' parents.
Yeah. Boys parents, I would say one, that when you are bringing up your children, all the parents, when you are bringing up your children, please, that is the time, make your son respect the girl child, respect his siblings if they are, respect the gender itself, and never give them extra privilege above the girl child.
Girls.
Extra
Correct.
privileges make them feel special. That turns into male ego when they become adult. So that ego has to be controlled in the childhood by telling them again and again that they have to behave. They have to behave like human. We should not
Beings.
tell that you behave like a man.
A man.
So then
Yeah.
again we discriminate. So this is this is all parents should learn. And when they treat the girl and boy together, and if they treat them equally, if they treat them equitably, things will improve at itself. We don't need to do any of that, because family itself is the factory of citizens. It is the family which is making citizens. And if within our family, if we can see well-behaved children, those who are gender sensitized, definitely tomorrow's society and tomorrow's parliament, tomorrow's politicians will be much better.
Actually, ma'am, your video again got broken.
Again?
Yeah, it's stuck.
Okay. See now? Is it okay?
No.
Yes,
it is. Yeah, yes. So
video starts taking nap.
Actually, ma'am, I'm really so happy to have you here to listen to your conversation. And I know 1 hour or 45 minutes is not sufficient to listen to the amount of wisdom.
Yes, it's
So,
not enough, because this is non-ending subject and which we are
correct.
talking. But it's really a pleasure.
Again, great.
Hello. I think video again stopped.
Yes.
So I think let us call it a day now.
Yeah, correct. So thank you so much for your enlightening words and for sharing your experience and learning with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I wish all the best, and stop the silence to stop the
silence to break the violence.
Everywhere.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Thank you for your inspiring words. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.